right? The question talks about the synergy right, that would reinvigorate the holistic spirit. ठीक है. Effectively, the spirit of the question says that somehow the holistic spirit was compromised. You are getting my point? The key thing here is that holistic spirit was somehow compromised. It is not there. Maybe some branches of anthropology, like social anthropology, is going more closer to sociology. If someone is studying the legal issues, it is more close to law. If someone is studying the political aspect, it is more close to PSIR. If someone is studying the economic dimension, so it is going towards the economic side. They are ignoring the idea of biology, they are ignoring the idea of language or archaeology, right? And this problem in anthropological discourse was identified by a very prominent scholar called Tim Ingold. Tim Ingold identified this trend in anthropology. What he says that anthropology is become too specific and compromising the holistic spirit. The need is to reinvigorate that holistic spirit through synergizing the core branches. That was his idea. So many of you may not be aware of this idea of Tim Ingold, and we don't expect you to write, है ना? आपसे नहीं एक्सपेक्टेड है कि आप टिम इनगोल्ड को जानो और उनकी इस डिबेट को जानो. उन्होंने एक बुक लिखी द की डिबेट्स इन एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, एडिट की कि क्या क्या मेन डिबेट्स चल रही हैं एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में. एंड वन ऑफ द फॉरमोस्ट डिबेट वाज अबाउट दैट. ठीक है, तो पहले आपको समझना था कि क्वेश्चन पूछ क्या रहा है ना? वो क्या कह रहा है? सिनर्जी इज मिसिंग. एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, द ब्रांचेज ऑफ एंथ्रोपोलॉजी हैज बिकम टू स्पेसिफिक, right? Their scope, their emphasis have become too narrow. ठीक है, so what we have to do? We have to synergize the branches so that we can reinvigorate the holistic spirit. ठीक है, so you have to start with Tim Ingold, right? So Tim Ingold identified a kind of narrow trend, a dangerous trend in anthropological discourse, where the branches of anthropology have become too specific, narrow in scope, right? That have a direct impact on the holistic spirit of the discipline, right? You know, see what you know that anthropology as a discipline is characterized by what? It's characterized by holism. That's a very famous characteristic of anthropology, right? Without holism, you don't even see. Otherwise, क्या होगा? Social issue को तो sociology पढ़ ही रही है ना. What extra is given by anthropology? Linguistics, right? Literatures, right? Arts, language को पढ़ रहे हैं. Linguistics वाले भी पढ़ रहे हैं, arts वाले भी पढ़ रहे हैं. Anthropology extra क्या कर रही है? Why anthropology? एंथ्रोपोलॉजी का जो अस्तित्व था वो ही खतरे में आ गया था, राइट? एंथ्रोपोलॉजी एज अ डिसिप्लिन वाज क्वेश्चनड समहाउ बिकॉज हिस्ट्री वाले आर्कियोलॉजी पढ़ रहे हैं, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी एक्स्ट्रा क्या दे रहा है, राइट? बायोलॉजी, मेडिसिन, राइट? दीज आर स्टडिंग द बायोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट. व्हाट एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इज गिविंग? सो एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इज हेल्पिंग अस टू कनेक्ट द डॉट्स, connect various dimensions of our existence, right? And giving us a holistic 360-degree picture of humankind. That's what it is, right? So what should be the introduction? अगर Tim Ingold नहीं भी पता है तो you have to start the introduction that the holistic spirit in anthropology, has been compromised due to over specialization of its core branches. राइट ये टिम इनगोल्ड का कोर आइडिया था. ठीक है, यहां पे आप एक आध एग्जांपल से जस्टिफाई करोगे. राइट, सोशियो कल्चरल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी हैव बिकम और यू कैन से हैव रीच्ड मच क्लोजर टू सोशियोलॉजी. राइट, biological anthropology is going towards public health epidemiology. Give these two examples, that would be sufficient, right? The socio-cultural anthropology gets much closer to sociology, right? सोशियोलॉजी में भी और डेप्थ में चले जाते हैं. राइट, डैश करके लिखो जेंडर स्टडीज, क्लास स्टडीज, ऑल दीज थिंग्स. राइट, एंड बायोलॉजिकल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इज गोइंग मच क्लोजर टू पब्लिक हेल्थ, एपिडेमियोलॉजी एटसेट्रा. ठीक है, सो अगर आपको टिम इनगोल्ड पता है, यू स्टार्ट विथ टिम इनगोल्ड. अगर नहीं पता है तो आप जनरली लिखो. ठीक है, सो शुरुआत ऐसे कर सकते हो. राइट, अब ये क्या हुआ, आपने क्वेश्चन की स्पिरिट को इंटरप्रेट किया. दैट मीन्स यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड द प्रॉब्लम, यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड दैट, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन आपसे कह रहा है कि आपको री इन्विगोरेट कराना है होलिस्टिक स्पिरिट को. दैट मीन्स आज की डेट में वो स्पिरिट नहीं है, कहीं ना कहीं थ्रेटन्ड है. यू आर गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? द स्पिरिट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन सेज दैट दैट स्पिरिट इज मिसिंग, दैट स्पिरिट हैज बीन कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड. राइट, सो सिनर्जाइजिंग वुड रिजल्ट इन री इन्विगोरेशन. ठीक है, तो हमने सबसे पहले क्या बताया कि वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गया. समझ में आई ये चीज? अब इसके बाद क्या करोगे? बिफोर यू टॉक अबाउट द होलिस्ट, यू नो, द रीइन्विगोरेशन, इट्स द बेस्ट थिंग टू टॉक अबाउट द होलिस्टिक स्पिरिट. राइट, नाउ आवर आइडिया इज टू टॉक अबाउट, राइट, सो यहां पे कनेक्टिंग लाइन लिख दो. तो बिफोर वी डेल्व इनटू दिस आइडिया, राइट, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द होलिस्टिक स्पिरिट. ठीक है, holistic spirit is the hallmark of anthropology. Who says? Franz Boas says. Right, according to Franz Boas, holistic spirit or holism is the hallmark of anthropological research and practice. Right, holism means anthropology studies all aspects of humans over time and space. Right, holism can be understood through the core branches. Then you talk about the core branches. ठीक है, so the core branches can be biological anthropology, sociocultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, archaeological anthropology. Right, give at least one paragraph to each, defining them, right? Okay. Then you come back to the question, right, that you have started with. You have started in the introduction that the holistic spirit is compromised. So why it has been compromised? So regions, that why holistic spirit is missing, उसकी बात करेंगे हम. क्या करेंगे? रीजन्स की बात करेंगे फिर. For over specialization, or you can say reasons for compromise on holistic spirit. ठीक है. तो रीजन्स कैन बी मल्टीपल फोल्ड. ठीक है. एक रीजन हो सकता है ओवर स्पेशलाइजेशन, isn't it? Second, what is the second reason? See, anthropological research is somehow time consuming, right? Lack of funding can be there, lack of job opportunities, है ना? So lack of job opportunities can be another reason. Funding could be another reason कि why they are going so specialized, है ना? Training, academic training, applied training can be another reason. So these can be the reasons, and then you say that how it can be reintegrated. So then you would write the examples, right? Then how would you go? You would take one example from all the 4 branches, right? Say let's start that how. अब ये वाला question आएगा, how the reinvigorate, how it would reinvigorate the holistic spirit by synergizing, right? So अब heading देंगे हम synergizing core branches and reinvigoration of holistic spirit. That would be your heading, right? So you simply write that synergizing core branches would reinvigorate the holistic spirit. That can be understood through the following examples. So the first example you can take from any part of the biology, right? So say biological anthropology का कोई एक XYZ example उठा लो आप. Say हम biology में बोलेंगे कि adaptation to the climate. Okay. यहां पे चारों ब्रांचेस दिख रही हैं आपको. You know that we have archaeological evidences that suggest how humans in the past have adapted to different kinds of environments. Number one. You have linguistic evidences that suggest how we have adapted to different environments, because Franz Boas says approximately 200 words are there among the Eskimos about snow. The same was identified by Ganesh Devi in Himalayan communities. Ganesh Devi, Bhasa Research Foundation, he says approximately 200 words are used for snow in Himalayas, right? So language is also telling you something about adaptation. Archaeology is also telling you something about adaptation. Biology, naturally ACTN gene, ACTN3 gene is associated with cold, right? Then larger lungs and all these things. So biology is there, right? And culture is naturally there, right? So here you can see that all the 4 branches are coming together, right? Now the second part, you can take one example from social. Okay? So say you take power, you can take patriarchy, you can take caste, you can take anything, you can take, right? So let's take caste. again all the 4 branches are there. We have archaeological evidences that suggest कि कब से caste like structures बनने आ रहे हैं. हमारे पास genetic evidence है कि caste endogamy कब शुरू हुई. डेविड राइक एक ऑक्सफोर्ड के रिसर्चर हैं, राइट. डेविड राइक हैव डन द रिसर्च ऑन इंडियंस अबाउट the caste endogamy. He had collected data from Indian population and the data was provided to him by Kumarasamy Thangaraj and another researcher, Professor Lalji Singh. They provided him Indian data and he reached to the conclusion that caste endogamy started approximately 1900 years ago. Right? 1900 years ago, caste endogamy started. Before that, there was no endogamous groups. There was free flow of genes, according to David Reich. So this is biology about caste. Now, where is the archaeological evidence? Manusmriti we consider somehow, right? That was written almost at the same time. So Manusmriti, that was written almost on the same time. That is also saying. Now, caste को हम तीसरी ब्रांच से कैसे समझ सकते हैं? That is your sociocultural. So we have the norms associated with the caste. Language से कैसे समझोगे? Language used by different caste people is different, right? So you can talk about the language or linguistic anthropology, and you can talk about the norms, right? जो आप लुई ड्यूमोंट का आइडिया है प्योरिटी पोल्यूशन का, वो लिख दो या कोई भी आप बात कर दो. सो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट कॉन्सेप्ट थ्रू द 4 field approach. So see how holistic spirit is coming out. The third question, third part we can take is language. Language in itself is a topic, right? So language is all, है ना? So how we can, what is happening? This Tamil Nadu CM, what he is saying, that we need to decipher the Indus script, है ना? तो लैंग्वेज के, रिटन लैंग्वेज के एविडेंसेस को हम समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. वी आर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड द हिस्ट्री ऑफ लैंग्वेज, राइट, थ्रू सम आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंसेस. दैट्स वन थिंग. You can talk about biological and cultural factors. Language is biological as well as cultural. Language is acquired, right? Language, we are socialized to language through language, right? We are socialized to language through language. Means we are taught language by language. ठीक है, तो इसमें भी चारों ब्रांचेस आ रही हैं. Because if you don't have Broca's area in your mind, if you don't have Wernicke's area in your mind, how would you be able to, understand the speech and, produce the words, sentences in a comprehensive manner? You won't be able to do it. So language में भी है. ठीक है. Fourth one is archaeology. है ना? So archaeology में आपको एक XYZ एग्जाम्पल ही ले लेते हैं, archaeology एज ए ब्रांच लेने की बजाय. So let's talk about anything, any site, or say let's talk about the Indus Valley people, the Harappan civilization. So how you can understand Harappan civilization in a better way? You use archaeology naturally. You start with the archaeology, right? You study the genes. What you say that Rakhigari specimen fossils do not have Aryan gene, and on the basis of that you make some conclusions. You try to understand their language. Isn't it? And you try to understand the norms, right? That you say that citadel was the place of dwelling of the administrators, the ruling class, and others were living there. So you talk about their social aspects, cultural aspects, right? So that way you would be able to write this answer in a proper way. Effectively, the problem lies that you don't understand the spirit of the question. ठीक है, अभी conclude कैसे करेंगे? You would be saying that going very narrow, or you can say over specialization, would compromise the basic spirit, the holistic spirit of the discipline. And if that is compromised, then the existence of anthropology as a discipline may come under question, may be questioned in future. So the need is to reinvigorate the spirit so that the holistic understanding of humans, humankind can be made, right? And that is very important given the complexity of problems that humankind is facing at the present times, like climate change, migration issues, right? Ethnic clashes, international disputes, etc. And that involve complexity. You cannot understand cookie mete issue just by the legal principles, just by the established laws, just by the understanding of military. You require anthropological understanding, that too holistic understanding. It's not simply a law and order issue. It's an ethnic crisis that have developed over a period of time. You cannot understand Ukraine-Russia crisis just by applying the international trade or boundary dispute. It's much deeper. It involves multiple dimensions, right? It involves the dimension of ethnicity, it involves the dimension of trade, it involves the dimension of defense and security, right? It involves the idea of hegemony, right? Who is superior, who is inferior, right? It also involves the idea of internal strifes in Russia. Same is Israel-Palestine. So if you want to understand anything, if you want to understand climate change, then you require this holistic spirit, right? Because other disciplines are too narrow in their approach. So the purpose is to tell you that how you are going to address the questions, right? So it's a very simple question, but you require the right kind of thinking.